What is the weight of a single choice made in the heart's quiet that sets the stars themselves to weeping? In the deeps of time, before the world was shaped as we know it, before the sun and moon rose to mark the days, there was a light. Not the light of day, nor the gleam of fire, but a radiance born of eternity, caught and held in three jewels so fair that even the gods paused to marvel. These were the Silmarils crafted by Fëanor, the greatest of the Noldor, and within them burned the light of the two trees of Valinor Telperion, the silver, and Laurelin, the gold. To speak of the Silmarils is to speak of desire of beauty, that wounds of a glory that cannot be held without cost. And so we begin, not with a tale of triumph, but with a question. Why did these jewels born of light become the root of endless strife? The Silmarils were not mere gems. They were vessels of the divine fragments of a world unmarred, holding within them the memory of a time when creation sang in harmony. Fëanor, their maker, was no common craftsman. His spirit was a flame fierce and unyielding, a soul that could not bend to the will of others, not even the valor, the powers of the world. In his hands the Silmarils came to be, and in their making he poured not only his skill, but his very being. To gaze upon them was to see the heart of creation itself, yet to desire them was to court ruin. For the Silmarils were hallowed blessed by Varda the Star-Kindler, so that no mortal flesh nor hand unclean could touch them without burning. They were sacred, yet they awakened a hunger that knew no bounds. Let us linger here in the moment of their creation and consider what it means to craft something greater than oneself. Fëanor did not merely shape jewels, he bound his soul to them. In their light he saw his own greatness reflected, and in their perfection he found a mirror for his pride. But pride is a flame that consumes as it warms. To love a thing too dearly is to risk losing all else, family, honor, even the very world. And so the seeds of strife were sown not in the jewels themselves, but in the heart that made them. For what is a treasure if it cannot be shared? What is beauty if it blinds us to all else? The Silmarils rested in Fëanor's keeping in the blessed realm of Valinor, where the Valar dwelt and the Eldar the Elves walked in the light of the two trees. This was a land without shadow, a place where sorrow seemed a distant memory. Yet even in paradise the heart can falter. Melkor, the mightiest of the Valar, whose name would later be Morgoth, the black foe, gazed upon the Silmarils and coveted them. His was a hunger older than the world, a desire not to create but to possess, to bend all things to his will. In the Silmarils he saw not beauty, but power to rival the light of creation itself. And so he wove his whispers, subtle and venomous, into the ears of the Noldor, sowing doubt and discontent. He spoke to Fëanor of betrayal, of the Valar's envy of a world beyond Valinor where the Silmarils might be lost. And Fëanor, whose love for his creations was a fire in his blood, listened. Here we pause, for in this moment lies a truth as old as the stars. Temptation begins not with a shout, but with a whisper. Melkor did not storm the halls of Fëanor with armies. He planted a seed, a single thought that grew into a forest of fear. What do we guard so fiercely that the mere thought of its loss consumes us? For Fëanor it was the Silmarils. For us it might be love or honor or a dream we dare not name. The tragedy is not in the guarding but in the blindness it brings. Fëanor began to see enemies where there were none. He drew the Silmarils closer, hiding them, cherishing them above all else, even above the trust of his kin, even above the peace of Valinor. And Melkor the Deceiver smiled in the shadows. The two trees still shone in those days, their light bathing the world in silver and gold. But light cannot endure where trust falters. Melkor, with the aid of Ungoliant, a creature of darkness whose hunger rivaled his own, struck at the heart of Valinor. He pierced the trees with his spear, and Ungoliant drank their sap, her venom poisoning their roots. The light of Telperion and Laurelin faded, and a darkness fell upon the world, a darkness not merely of sight, but of spirit. In that moment the Silmarils became more than jewels. They became the last remnant of a light now lost, a memory of a world that could never be reclaimed. And Fëanor, learning of the tree's destruction, felt the weight of his creations grow heavier still. But the strife was only beginning. Melkor, fleeing Valinor, came to Fëanor's home in Formenos, where the Silmarils were kept. There he slew Finwë, Fëanor's father, the High King of the Noldor, and stole the Silmarils, carrying them into the darkness of Middle-earth. The blow was more than theft. It was a wound to the soul. Fëanor, who had loved his father dearly, saw in his death the cost of his own obsession. Yet rather than turn inward, he turned outward, his grief hardening into wrath. He named Melkor Morgoth the Black Foe and swore an oath that would echo through the ages, an oath to reclaim the Silmarils no matter the cost, no matter the blood that must be spilled. Let us hold this moment, for it is here that the Silmarils become the root of endless strife. An oath is a chain forged in the heart, binding the swearer to a path from which there is no turning back. Fëanor's oath was not merely a vow to pursue Morgoth. It was a declaration of war against all who might stand in his way, be they foe, friend, or kin. His sons, bound by love and loyalty, swore the same oath, and in their words the doom of the Noldor was sealed. For an oath sworn in wrath is a fire that burns all it touches. It does not ask for reason. It demands obedience. And so the Silmarils, once a symbol of creation's beauty, became a beacon of destruction, drawing the Noldor into a war that would span centuries. The rebellion of the Noldor followed a tide of fire and sorrow. Fëanor, burning with his oath, rallied his people to leave Valinor and pursue Morgoth to Middle-earth. But the Valar, in their wisdom and their grief, forbade the departure, warning of the doom that would follow. Fëanor would not listen. His heart was a furnace, and the Silmarils were its fuel. He spoke to the Noldor of freedom, of glory, of a world where they might rule as kings. And the Noldor, stirred by his words, followed him, not all but many, their hearts kindled by the same fire that consumed their leader. Yet the path to Middle-earth was not one of honor. In their haste, the Noldor came to Alqualande, the haven of the Teleri, their kin among the Elves. There Fëanor demanded ships to cross the sea. The Teleri, bound by their own love for their swan ships, refused. And so the first blood was spilled, not of orcs or servants of Morgoth, but of elves slain by elves. The kinslaying at Alqualande was a stain that could never be washed away, a wound in the heart of the Eldar. The Silmarils, still far off in Morgoth's grasp, had already begun to weave their curse, turning brother against brother, light against light. Here we must linger, for the kinslaying is not merely a moment in a tale, it is a mirror. What do we do when the thing we seek, be it justice, love, or glory, demands a price we cannot bear to pay? Fëanor believed he sought the Silmarils to honor his father, to reclaim what was stolen. But in his pursuit he lost something greater, his kinship, his honor, the very light he claimed to defend. The Silmarils did not compel him to raise his sword. That choice was his own. And yet their light seemed to call to him, a siren song that drowned out all else. Is this not the way of all great desires? They promise to fill us, yet they hollow us out. The Noldor took the ships stained with blood and sailed to Middle-earth. But the Valar in their sorrow pronounced a doom upon the rebels, the doom of Mandos, a prophecy of tears unnumbered. To evil end shall all things turn, that they begin well, the herald of Manwë declared, and by treason of kin unto kin, and the fear of treason shall this come to pass. The Noldor would not find peace in Middle-earth, nor would the Silmarils be easily reclaimed. Their quest was cursed not by the jewels themselves, but by the choices made in their name. Fëanor, undaunted, pressed on. He burned the ships upon reaching Middle-earth, a final act of defiance, ensuring that none could turn back. His sons, his followers, were bound to him now, not by love alone, but by the fire of his will. And yet even as he marched toward war, the Silmarils remained distant, locked in Morgoth's iron crown, deep in the fortress of Angband. The light that Fëanor had crafted, the light he had loved, was now a mockery adorning the brow of the enemy. And Fëanor, for all his fire, could not reach it. Let us pause here at the edge of Middle-earth, with the Noldor standing upon a shore of blood and ash. The Silmarils, those jewels of light, have become a chain binding Fëanor and his people to a path of sorrow. But the tale does not end here, nor does the question we began with find its answer. Why were the Silmarils the root of endless strife? Not because they were beautiful, nor because they were sacred, but because they were loved too fiercely, desired too deeply. In their light, Fëanor saw his own soul, and in their loss, he saw his own ruin. Yet the story continues, for the Silmarils are not merely Fëanor's burden. They are a mirror for all who seek, all who love, all who swear oaths they cannot unmake. As we journey deeper into this tale, we will walk the paths of Middle-earth, where the Silmarils will call to others, kings and warriors, lovers and thieves. We will see how their light kindles hope and despair, how their beauty weaves a web of fate. For the Silmarils are not merely jewels, they are a question asked of every heart. What will you sacrifice for the light you love? And in that question lies the root of all strife and perhaps the seed of all redemption. The wind of Middle-earth stirs, now carrying the echo of Fëanor's oath, the cry of the kinslaying, the weight of a doom unspoken. The Silmarils shine still far off in the darkness, and their light will draw us onward through fire and shadow to the heart of a tale that is both ancient and ever new. The shores of Middle-earth lie behind us now, where the stolen ships of the Teleri burn to ash under Fëanor's command, their flames a beacon of no return. The Noldor, exiles by choice and cursed by doom, stand upon a land vast and shadowed, where the stars alone bear witness to their coming. The Silmarils, those radiant jewels, gleam far off in the iron crown of Morgoth, locked within the depths of Angband, his fortress of unyielding stone. Their light, once a song of creation, now taunts the hearts of those who swore to reclaim them. Fëanor's oath, a chain forged in wrath, binds his sons and his people to a path where hope and despair walk hand in hand. And so we continue not to recount battles or tally losses, but to wander deeper into the question that haunts this tale. Why do the Silmarils born of light weave a thread of endless strife? Middle-earth in those elder days was a land untamed, its forests deep, its mountains sharp, its rivers singing of secrets older than the Elves. The Noldor, though mighty in craft and lore, were strangers here, their hearts still heavy with the light of Valinor they had forsaken. Fëanor, their leader, burned brighter than ever, his spirit a furnace that would not cool. His oath to reclaim the Silmarils or die in the attempt was no mere vow. It was the pulse of his being, the rhythm that drove his every step. Yet an oath is a master as cruel as any tyrant. It does not ask what is wise, it demands what is sworn. And Fëanor, for all his brilliance, could not see the shadow his own fire cast. Let us linger on this truth: to swear an oath is to surrender choice. Fëanor believed he led his people, but it was the Silmarils that led him, their distant light, a star he could neither reach nor turn from. His sons, Maedhros, Maglor, Celegorm, Caranthir, Curufin, Amrod, and Amras stood beside him, their own oaths echoing his, their loyalty a mirror of his fire. But loyalty, like love, can blind as much as it binds. The sons of Fëanor did not question their father's path, not yet. They saw in him a king, a beacon, a flame that could challenge even Morgoth. Yet flames consume what they touch, and the Noldor were already scarred by the kinslaying, by the doom of Mandos, by the knowledge that their quest was born in blood. The Noldor did not come alone to Middle-earth. Others of their kin, led by Fingolfin, Fëanor's half-brother, and Finarfin, followed, though their hearts were divided. Fingolfin's host had crossed the grinding ice of the Helcaraxi, a perilous journey born of Fëanor's betrayal, for he had burned the ships and left them stranded. Many perished in that frozen waste, their songs of valor swallowed by the cold. Yet Fingolfin, steadfast and resolute, led his people to Middle-earth, their banners raised not for the Silmarils alone, but for a dream of freedom, of a world where the Noldor might forge their own fate. Here lies a contrast. Fëanor's fire burned for the jewels, but Fingolfin's heart sought a greater light, one not bound in crystal, but woven in hope. Yet both were exiles, and both would find that Middle-earth offered no easy redemption. The land they entered was not empty. Morgoth, the Black Foe, had long prepared his dominion. His armies of orcs, bred in the pits of Angband, roamed the north, while his spies and shadows crept through the forests. The Sindar Elves, who had never seen the light of Valinor, dwelt in Beleriand, their king Thingol ruling from the hidden halls of Menegroth. These were a people of starlight, their lives shaped by the beauty and peril of Middle-earth. To them the Noldor were both kin and strangers, their arrival a storm that stirred the quiet of the land. Thingol welcomed them warily, for he knew of the kinslaying, and the tale of Fëanor's rebellion troubled his heart. The Silmarils, though far off, cast their shadow even here, for their theft had set this tide of exiles in motion. Fëanor, heedless of alliances, pressed toward war. His heart was fixed on Angband, where the Silmarils lay. He rallied his host, and in the first light of the sun, for the sun rose in those days, a new marvel born of the Valor's mercy, they clashed with Morgoth's forces in the Dagor Nuin Gileath, the battle under stars. The Noldor, fierce with wrath and longing, drove back the orcs, their swords singing of vengeance. Fëanor at their head fought with a fury that seemed to rival the stars themselves. For a moment it seemed the Silmarils might be within reach, that the fire of his will could undo the theft of Morgoth. But Morgoth was no mere foe. From the depths of Angband came Balrog's spirits of fire and shadow, their whips cracking like thunder. Fëanor, undaunted, faced them, his blade a streak of light in the dark. Yet even he could not stand against such might. Wounded he fell, and though his sons bore him from the field, his fire began to fade. Here we must pause, for Fëanor's fall is no mere moment of defeat, it is a turning of the tide. As he lay dying, his body consumed by the flame of his own spirit, he cursed Morgoth thrice and bound his sons to their oath anew. "Swear to me," he demanded, "that you will not rest until the Silmarils are reclaimed." And they swore, their voices heavy with love and dread. Fëanor's death was not an end, but a spark that set the world ablaze. His oath, now theirs, became a chain that would bind the house of Fëanor through centuries of sorrow. The Silmarils, still locked in Morgoth's crown, seemed to mock them their light, a reminder of a vow that could not be unmade. What is the cost of a promise kept? Fëanor's sons did not choose their oath freely. It was born of their father's fire, of a love that could not say no. Yet in swearing they surrendered their own paths, their own dreams. The Silmarils became their master as they had been Fëanor's, and their light, distant, untouchable, drove them to deeds both great and terrible. Here lies a truth as old as the world: to pursue a thing too fiercely is to lose oneself. The Silmarils were not merely jewels. They were a mirror reflecting the desires of those who sought them. To Fëanor, they were his soul's work. To his sons, they were a duty, a burden, a chain. And to others yet to come, they would be a dream, a temptation, a doom. The Noldor, now leaderless, looked to Maedhros, Fëanor's eldest son, to guide them. Maedhros, tall and valiant, bore his father's fire, but tempered it with wisdom. Yet he too was bound by the oath, and its weight lay heavy upon him. The Noldor fortified their camps in Beleriand, building strongholds to withstand Morgoth's might. Fingolfin's host, arriving at last, joined them, though the rift between the houses of Fëanor and Fingolfin lingered, a wound unhealed. Together they held the north, their eyes ever fixed on Angband, where the Silmarils shone in mockery. The siege of Angband began, a long watch that would endure for centuries as the Noldor sought to contain Morgoth's power. Yet containment is not victory, and the Silmarils remained beyond their grasp. Let us turn now to the land itself. For Middle-earth is no mere stage. It is a living presence, its rivers and stones bearing witness to the strife of the Silmarils. Beleriand, with its green valleys and swift waters, was a land of beauty, yet it was scarred by war. The Sindar, under Thingol's rule, had long fought Morgoth's creatures, their bows and spears, a quiet defiance. The arrival of the Noldor changed the balance, bringing hope, but also division. Thingol, proud and wary, granted the Noldor lands to dwell in, but he kept his own counsel, his heart troubled by the fire he saw in their eyes. The Silmarils, though he had never seen them, cast a shadow over his thoughts, for their tale was one of blood and betrayal. Among the Noldor, new heroes rose. Fingon, son of Fingolfin, proved his valor, his golden braids a banner of hope. Turgon, Fingolfin's second son, began to dream of a hidden city, a refuge where the light of Valinor might be preserved. Finrod, son of Finarfin, built Nargothrond, a stronghold carved in stone, its halls echoing with the songs of the Eldar. These were not merely lords. They were bearers of a legacy, their hearts torn between the oath of Fëanor's house and the hope of a new beginning. Yet the Silmarils, distant though they were, shaped their paths, for the war against Morgoth was inseparable from the quest for the jewels. Every sword raised, every wall built, was a step toward that unattainable light. Morgoth and his dark throne was not idle. The Silmarils set in his crown burned him, for their hallowed light could not abide his touch. Yet he wore them still, a perverse triumph, their radiance a mockery of the Noldor's loss. He sent forth his armies, testing the Noldor's strength, probing their resolve. The Dagor Aglareb, the glorious battle, saw the Noldor triumph, their unity a shield against Morgoth's might. For a time it seemed the Silmarils might be reclaimed, that the fire of Fëanor's oath could burn through even Angband's gates. But Morgoth's power was deep, his malice patient. He bided his time, knowing the oath would gnaw at the Noldor's hearts, turning brother against brother, hope against hope. Here we must linger, for the siege of Angband is not merely a strategy, it is a meditation on waiting. To hold a line, to watch a horizon, is to live in tension, caught between memory and longing. The Noldor waited, their eyes on the Silmarils, their hearts on a light they could not touch. What do we wait for in the silences of our own lives? A dream fulfilled, a wound healed, a promise kept. The Noldor's vigil was not passive. It was a fire banked but never extinguished. Yet waiting, like an oath, can consume as much as it preserves. The Silmarils locked in Morgoth's crown were a star the Noldor could not reach, yet could not turn from. The years passed, and Beleriand grew fair under the Noldor's care. Cities rose, songs were sung, and the stars seemed to shine brighter. Yet the Silmarils cast their shadow still. Maedhros, seeking to strengthen the Noldor's hold, proposed a union of their forces, a league to challenge Morgoth. But the oath ever-present stirred unease. Fëanor's sons, bound by their vow, could not share the Silmarils even if reclaimed. Their allies, sensing this, grew wary, and the seeds of division took root. The Silmarils, though unseen, were a wedge-splitting kin dream from dream. Let us pause here in the green hills of Beleriand, where the Noldor stand as exiles and kings, their hearts torn between light and shadow. The Silmarils locked in Morgoth's crown are more than jewels. They are a question, a challenge, a chain. They ask of each who seeks them, what will you sacrifice for the light you love? Fëanor gave his life, his honor, his kin. His sons gave their freedom, their peace, their hope, and others yet to come will give more still. The strife of the Silmarils is not in their beauty, but in the desires they awaken, the oaths they inspire, the silences they break. The wind of Beleriand stirs, now carrying the echo of Fëanor's fall, the song of the Noldor's vigil, the weight of a light unclaimed. The Silmarils shine still far off in the darkness, and their call will draw us onward through joy and sorrow to the heart of a tale that weaves both doom and redemption. The hills of Beleriand stretch before us green under the starlight, their rivers whispering of ages past and yet to come. The Noldor exiles of Valinor hold their watch in the north, their strongholds a bulwark against the shadow of Angband, where Morgoth the black foe sits enthroned, the Silmarils blazing in his iron crown. The siege of Angband endures a tense vigil born of hope and defiance, yet beneath it lies the pulse of Fëanor's oath, a vow that binds his sons and haunts their kin, turning brother against brother, dream against dream. The Silmarils, those jewels of eternal light, remain beyond reach, their radiance a taunt, their sanctity a chain. We walk deeper now, not to chronicle wars or weave summaries, but to trace the question that echoes through this tale. Why do these fragments of light kindle endless strife? The years of the siege were not silent. Beleriand, though scarred by war, bloomed under the Noldor's care. Their cities, Nargothrond, Gondal, and Himring, rose like stars amid the wild, their halls filled with song and craft. The Sindar, the Elves of starlight, wove their own lives into this tapestry, their king Thingol, ruling from Menegroth, the thousand caves where beauty and wisdom dwelt in harmony. Yet harmony is fragile when oaths burn in the heart. Fëanor's sons, led by Maedhros, held the east, their eyes ever fixed on Angband. Fingolfin, High King of the Noldor, ruled in the west, his heart set on unity, though the rift between the houses of Fëanor and Fingolfin lingered a wound unhealed. The Silmarils, locked in Morgoth's grasp, were a silent presence, their light shaping the choices of all who dwelt in Beleriand. Maedhros, eldest of Fëanor's sons, bore the weight of his father's oath with a clarity his brothers lacked. His was a spirit of fire, yet tempered by sorrow. The loss of Fëanor, the kinslaying, the doom of Mandos. These were not mere memories, but burdens he carried in his silence. He sought to forge a union among the elves, a league to challenge Morgoth's might. In the hills of Himring, his fortress, he gathered his brothers and their allies, speaking of strength and unity of a day when the Silmarils might be reclaimed. Yet the oath, that unyielding chain, stirred unease. The Silmarils were not to be shared, not even among allies. Maedhros knew this, as did his brothers, and their vow cast a shadow over every council. To pursue the jewels was to court division for their light-awakened greed as much as glory. Let us linger here, for the oath is no mere promise. It is a mirror of the heart's frailty. Maedhros did not swear to reclaim the Silmarils for pride alone. He swore for love of his father, of his kin, of a light he could not bear to see defiled. Yet love, when bound to vengeance, becomes a cage. The Silmarils, hallowed by Varda, were not meant for mortal hands to hoard, yet the oath demanded they be reclaimed at all costs. What do we swear to in the heat of our own passions? A dream, a duty, a debt unpaid. The sons of Fëanor were not villains. They were bound, as we all may be, by choices made in moments of fire. And the Silmarils, gleaming in Morgoth's crown, were the star they could neither reach nor forsake. The peace of the siege was not to last. Morgoth, ever watchful, tested the Noldor's resolve. From Angband's pits came rivers of fire, and with them Glaurung, the first of dragons, a creature of malice and flame. The Dagor Bergolach, the Battle of Sudden Flame, shattered the Noldor's lines. Strongholds fell, heroes perished, and the green hills of Beleriand burned. Fingolfin, High King, rode alone to Angband's gates, his heart a storm of grief and wrath. There he challenged Morgoth to single combat, his sword Ringel flashing like a comet. 7 times he wounded the black foe, but Morgoth's might was too great. Fingolfin fell, his body broken, yet his defiance burned brighter than the Silmarils themselves. His death was a wound to the Noldor, a reminder that even the greatest valor cannot undo an oath's curse. Here we pause, for Fingolfin's fall is not merely a loss, it is a meditation on sacrifice. He did not ride for the Silmarils nor for vengeance, but for his people, for a hope that outlasted his life. The Silmarils, though they drove the war, were not his star. His light was duty, a flame that burned without consuming. Yet even he could not escape the strife they wrought, for the war against Morgoth was inseparable from Fëanor's quest. What do we fight for when the cost is all we are? Fingolfin's ride was a song of defiance, but it was also a lament, for the Silmarils had turned kin against kin, light against light, long before Morgoth's hammer fell. The Noldor, shaken but unbroken, rallied under Fingolfin's son. Maedhros too sought to renew the fight, his heart stirred by the hope of victory. He proposed the union of Maedhros, a grand alliance of elves, men, and dwarves, to strike at Angband and reclaim the Silmarils. The Edain, the first men to enter Beleriand, joined the cause, their short lives burning with a courage that awed the elves. Beren, a man of the house of Beor, would soon enter this tale, his love for Luthien Thingol's daughter weaving a new thread into the Silmarils' strife. But for now the union gathered, its banners bright, its swords sharp. The Nirnaeth Arnoediad, the battle of unnumbered tears, was its culmination, a war to end all wars, or so they hoped. The battle was a storm of steel and sorrow. The Noldor and their allies fought with a valor that shook the earth, their songs rising above the clash of swords. For a moment victory seemed near. Turgon, Lord of Gondolin, emerged from his hidden city, his host a tide of light. The men of Dor-lómin, led by Hurin and Huor, held the rear, their axes hewing orcs like trees. Yet Morgoth's malice was deeper than any could fathom. Treachery bred by his whispers undid the union. Uldor, a chieftain of men, turned traitor, and the Easterlings fell upon their allies. Glaurung's fire swept the field, and the hosts of Angband poured forth, their numbers uncounted. The elves and men were broken. Their banners trampled, their songs drowned in blood. Húrin, last of the men of Dor-lómin, stood alone, his axe dripping red. Ore and Toluva, he cried, day shall come again. Captured, he was dragged to Angband, where Morgoth sought to break his spirit. But Húrin's defiance, like Fingolfin's, was a light that would not fade. The Nirnaeth was a defeat, yet it was also a testament to the heart's unyielding fire. The Silmarils, still in Morgoth's crown, burned him as he sat in triumph, their hallowed light a torment he could not escape. And in that torment lay a truth: even the victor is bound by the strife he sows. Let us linger here, for the Nirnaeth is not merely a battle, it is a mirror of loss. The Silmarils, though they did not fall in that war, were its heart. The oath of Fëanor's sons drove the union for Maedhros, and his brothers could not abandon their vow. Yet their allies, Fingon, Turgon, Hurin, fought for more than jewels. They fought for freedom, for love, for a world unshadowed. The Silmarils, locked in Angband, were a star that drew all to ruin their light, a promise that betrayed as much as it inspired. What do we chase in the wreckage of our own battles? A dream, a duty, a light we cannot name. The Nirnaeth teaches us that valor is not enough, that unity falters when trust is thin, and the Silmarils' ever-distant whisper of a cost yet unpaid. In the wake of defeat, Beleriand lay wounded. Gondolin and Nargothrond endured hidden from Morgoth's eyes, but the Noldor's strength was spent. Fëanor's sons scattered their oath, a chain that chafed but would not break. Maedhros, his hope dimmed, retreated to the east, his brothers following, their hearts hardened by loss. Yet the Silmarils' tale was not done. Beren and Luthien, whose love would shake the heavens, entered the stage. Beren, a man broken by war, came to Doriath, where he saw Luthien Thingol's daughter dancing under the stars. Her beauty was a light beyond the Silmarils, her song a melody that Morgoth's malice could not touch. Their love, forbidden by Thingol, set them on a path that would bring the Silmarils closer than any sword had done. Thingol, proud and protective, demanded an impossible price for Luthien's hand, a Silmaril from Morgoth's crown. Beren, bound by love, accepted the quest, though it seemed a doom. With Luthien at his side, he journeyed to Angband, their courage a flame that burned through shadow. Luthien's song subdued Morgoth himself, her power weaving a sleep that bound his court. Beren cut a Silmaril from the Iron Crown, and for the first time one of Fëanor's jewels was reclaimed not by war, but by love. Yet the Silmaril was not easily held. Carcharoth, a wolf of Angband, swallowed the jewel, its light burning within him. Beren fell wounded, and though Luthien's love called him back from death, their triumph was bittersweet. The Silmaril came to Doriath, but at a cost that echoed the strife it had always wrought. Here we pause, for Beren and Luthien's tale is not merely a romance, it is a revelation. The Silmaril won by love was no less a chain than when it lay in Morgoth's crown. Thingol's demand, born of pride, set Beren and Luthien on a path of peril. The jewel once reclaimed did not bring peace, but new strife, for Fëanor's sons, bound by their oath, would soon turn their eyes to Doriath. The Silmarils, hallowed and radiant, were a light that burned as much as it blessed. What do we seek when love demands a price too great? Beren and Luthien teach us that even the purest heart cannot escape the strife of desire, that even a Silmaril won with sacrifice carries a shadow. The Silmaril in Doriath stirred new tensions. Thingol, enthralled by its light, grew proud, his heart turned to its keeping. The dwarves of Nogrod, who crafted a necklace to hold the jewel, coveted it, and their greed led to bloodshed. Thingol fell slain by those he had trusted, and the Silmaril passed to Luthien. The sons of Fëanor, their oath unyielding, demanded the jewel, but Luthien, now mortal, bore it beyond their reach. The Silmaril's light, once a beacon of hope, became a spark of war, for the oath would not rest. The strife of the Silmarils woven into Doriath's fall was a reminder that beauty, when hoarded, becomes a curse. Let us linger here in the ruins of Doriath, where the Silmaril shines amid sorrow. The jewel won by love has brought death to a king division, to a people, and a renewed fire to Fëanor's sons. The Silmarils are not merely treasures. They are a question asked of every heart. What will you sacrifice for the light you love? Thingol gave his life, Beren his peace, Luthien her immortality. And the sons of Fëanor, bound by their vow, will give more still. The strife of the Silmarils is not in their making, but in the desires they awaken, the chains they forge, the silences they shatter. The wind of Beleriand stirs, now carrying the echo of Thingol's fall. The song of Luthien's love, the weight of an oath unbroken. The Silmarils shine still, one in Doriath, two in Angband, and their light will draw us onward through fire and shadow to the heart of a tale that weaves both doom and redemption. The halls of Menegroth lie in ruin, their once glorious carvings stained with blood and grief. Thingol, king of the Sindar, is dead, slain by the dwarves of Nogrod, whose hearts were ensnared by the Silmaril's light. The jewel won by Beren and Luthien through love's impossible courage rests now with Luthien, its radiance a fragile beacon in a land torn by war and betrayal. Beyond the borders of Doriath, the sons of Fëanor, bound by their father's unyielding oath, stir with renewed fire, their eyes fixed on the Silmaril they cannot forsake. In the north, Morgoth reigns in Angband, the remaining two Silmarils burning in his iron crown, their hallowed light a torment he endures for the sake of dominion. Beleriand, though still fair in its rivers and hills, trembles under the weight of choices made and unmade. We journey deeper now, not to tally the fallen or recount victories, but to trace the thread of a question that binds this tale. Why do the Silmarils, vessels of divine light, so endless strife? The Silmaril in Doriath is no mere prize. It is a mirror reflecting the desires of all who behold it. To Luthien it is a memory of Beren, of a love that defied death itself. To the dwarves it was a treasure worth betrayal, its beauty a spark that kindled greed. To the sons of Fëanor, Maedhros, Maglor, Celegorm, Caranthir, Curufin, Amrod, and Amras, it is a chain, the heart of an oath sworn in their father's dying breath. The jewel's light, hallowed by Varda, burns the unworthy, yet its allure draws all, worthy or not, into its orbit. Luthien, now mortal by her choice, bears the Silmaril not as a queen but as a keeper, her heart turned not to its glory, but to the quiet life she shares with Beren in Osiri and the land of seven rivers. Yet even in their seclusion, the Silmaril's presence ripples outward, stirring unrest, for beauty so great cannot remain hidden. The sons of Fëanor, scattered by the Nirnaeth Arnoediad, learn of the Silmaril's resting place. Maedhros, their leader, feels the oath's weight most keenly. His is a soul torn between honor and duty, his fire tempered by the sorrow of battles lost and kin divided. He sends word to Doriath demanding the Silmarils return, his message cloaked in courtesy but edged with warning. The oath he claims is sacred, sworn before Manwë and Varda, unbreakable even by the Valor's will. Yet Luthien, who faced Morgoth himself, is not swayed. The Silmaril won by her song, and Baron's blood is no longer Fëanor's to claim. Her refusal is not pride but truth. The jewel's light belongs to no one, not even those who swear by it. The refusal reaches Maedhros, and the oath, that relentless master, stirs his brothers to wrath. The stage is set for a new tragedy, one that will echo the kinslaying at Alqualande, where elf slew elf for the sake of a quest. Let us linger here, for the oath is not merely a vow, it is a wound that festers. Maedhros does not desire the Silmaril for its beauty. He seeks it to end the torment of a promise he cannot unmake. His brothers, less restrained, burn with a fire closer to Fëanor's Celegorm and Curufin in particular, whose hearts are hardened by loss and pride. The Silmaril to them is not just a jewel but a right, a legacy stolen. Yet what is a right when it demands blood? The sons of Fëanor stand at a crossroads, their oath a chain that binds them to ruin. What do we cling to when the cost of keeping it hollows us out? A duty, a name, a memory we cannot release. The Silmaril shining in Osirian is a star they cannot ignore, yet to pursue it is to court damnation. The sons of Fëanor, led by Celegorm and Curufin, march on Doriath. The second kinslaying begins a storm of steel and sorrow. The Sindar unprepared fight to defend their home, but the Noldor's wrath is a tide that sweeps all before it. Dior Thingol's heir stands with his wife Nimloth, their children Elwing, Elured, and Elurin caught in the chaos. The halls of Menegroth, once a haven of light, become a tomb, their beauty shattered by sword and fire. Dior falls, his blood mingling with the dust, and Nimloth with him. The Silmaril is taken, but at a cost that scars the soul. Elwing, their daughter, escapes with the jewel, a child bearing a light too heavy for her years. Elurid and Elurine, mere boys, are abandoned in the wild, their fates a whisper of cruelty that haunts the tale. Maedhros, though he did not strike the first blow, bears the weight of this sin. He searches for the lost children, his heart sick with remorse, but finds no trace. The Silmaril, now in Elwing's keeping, slips beyond his grasp, carried to the havens of Sirion, where survivors of Doriath and Gondolin gather. The second kinslaying is not a victory, but a fracture, a moment where the oath reveals its true face, not honor, but destruction. The sons of Fëanor, once heroes, are now slayers of kin, their hands stained with the blood of those they once called allies. The Silmaril, though reclaimed briefly, is lost again, its light a mockery of their vow. Here we pause, for the kinslaying is not merely a battle, it is a mirror of the heart's betrayal. The Silmarils, hallowed and radiant, do not compel the sword, they awaken the desires that wield it. Celegorm and Curufin saw in the jewel their father's glory, their own right to rule. Maedhros saw a chain he could not break. Yet the Silmaril in Elwing's hands is a symbol of survival, of a hope that endures despite ruin. What do we destroy when we seek to possess what was never ours? The second kinslaying teaches us that the light we chase can blind us, that the oath we swear can lead us to darkness. The Silmaril's ever-elusive whisper of a cost that grows with every step. In the havens of Sirion, Elwing grows to womanhood, the Silmaril a constant weight upon her heart. She weds Eärendil, a mariner of Gondolin's line, whose soul is drawn to the sea and the stars. Together they bear two sons, Elrond and Elros, their lives a fragile thread in a world unraveling. The Silmaril set in the Noglamir shines as a beacon drawing both hope and peril. The havens become a refuge for the broken Sindar Noldor men, yet the Silmaril's presence stirs unrest. The sons of Fëanor, their oath unyielding, learn of its resting place. Maedhros, weary of bloodshed, seeks peace, but his brothers, led by Amrod and Amras, will not relent. The oath, like a fire that cannot be quenched, drives them to the havens, and the third kinslaying begins. The havens burn, their people scattered. Eärendil is at sea, his ship Vingelot seeking a path to Valinor, leaving Elwing to face the storm alone. She stands with the Silmaril, her heart torn between duty and despair. As the sons of Fëanor close in, she casts herself into the sea, the jewel clutched to her breast, choosing death over surrender. Yet the Valor in their mercy intervene. Ulmo, Lord of Waters, transforms her into a great white bird, the Silmaril blazing on her breast. She flies to Eärendil, her wings a song of hope, and together they sail westward, the jewel's light guiding them to the undying lands. The third kinslaying like those before yields no Silmaril, only sorrow. Maglor alone among Fëanor's sons takes Elrond and Elros as his own, raising them with a love that wars with his guilt. Let us linger here, for Elwing's leap is not merely an escape, it is a revelation. The Silmaril born into the sky becomes more than a jewel. It becomes a star, a light beyond the grasp of oath or sword. Elwing's choice, born of desperation, is also an act of faith, a surrender to a power greater than her own. The Silmarils, though they drive the sons of Fëanor to ruin, are not theirs to hold. Their light, hallowed by Varda, belongs to the world, not to one heart or hand. What do we release when we can no longer carry the weight? Elwing's flight teaches us that sometimes to save a light, we must let it go. The Silmarils, now one in the sky, two in Angband, whisper of a destiny beyond possession. In Valinor, Eärendil and Elwing plead before the Valar the Silmaril, a testament to their sacrifice. Manwë moved by their love grants. Their boon, the hosts of Valinor will march against Morgoth. The war of wrath will end his reign. Eärendil, bearing the Silmaril, is set in the sky as a star, his ship, Vingilot, a beacon of hope. The Silmaril, now called the Evening Star, shines for all Middle-earth, a light that Morgoth cannot dim. Yet in Beleriand, the sons of Fëanor, diminished and broken, feel the oath's fire still. Maedhros and Maglor, the last of their line, know the remaining Silmarils lie in Angband, soon to be reclaimed by the Valar's might. Their vow unfulfilled is a wound that will not heal. The War of Wrath shakes the world. The Valar's hosts, led by Eönwë, herald of Manwë, clash with Morgoth's armies. Dragons, Balrogs, and orcs fall before their wrath. The earth itself fractures Beleriand, sinking beneath the waves. Morgoth is cast down, his crown broken, the two Silmarils reclaimed. Eönwë guards them their light, a reminder of a world unmarred. Maedhros and Maglor, driven by their oath, steal the jewels, their hands burning as the Silmarils reject their touch. Maedhros, in despair, casts himself into a fiery chasm, the Silmaril lost to the earth. Maglor alone throws his into the sea, wandering ever after his songs, a lament for what was lost. Here we pause, for the War of Wrath is not merely a victory, it is a requiem. The Silmarils, once the heart of Fëanor's fire, are scattered, one in the sky, one in the earth, one in the sea. Their light endures, but their strife has broken the world. Maedhros and Maglor, bound by their oath, find no peace, only pain. The Silmarils, hallowed and radiant, were never theirs to hold, yet their pursuit shaped the fate of all. What do we lose when we chase a light that burns? The War of Wrath teaches us that even in triumph, the cost of desire lingers, a shadow that outlasts the flame. The Silmarils, though lost to mortal hands, shine still. Eärendil's star guides the weary, a hope that endures. The earth and sea hold their secrets, their light a whisper of eternity. Yet the strife they wrought, kin against kin, oath against oath, lives in the songs of Middle-earth, a tale of beauty and ruin. The Silmarils are not merely jewels. They are a question asked of every heart. What will you sacrifice for the light you love? Maedhros gave his soul, Maglor his peace, Elwing her home. And we who hear their tale must ask what we would give. The wind of a new age stirs, now carrying the echo of Maedhros's fall, Maglor's lament, Elwing's flight. The Silmarils shine, still scattered and eternal, and their light will draw us onward through memory and hope to the heart of a tale that weaves both sorrow and redemption. The waves of a drowned Beleriand lap at the edges of a world remade, their foam whispering of cities lost and songs silenced. The War of Wrath has ended its fury, sinking the green hills and hidden halls beneath the sea. Morgoth, the black foe, is cast into the void, his iron crown broken, his dominion shattered. The two Silmarils he once wore are reclaimed by Eönwë, herald of Manwë, their hallowed light, a flame no hand can hold without burning. One Silmaril shines in the sky, borne by Eärendil as the evening star, a beacon of hope for a weary world. The other two, stolen by Maedhros and Maglor in a final act of oath-bound desperation, are lost, one to the fiery depths of the earth, one to the restless sea. The sons of Fëanor, their house broken, are scattered or gone, their vow a chain that bound them to ruin. Yet the Silmarils' tale does not end here, for their light, eternal and unyielding, lingers in the heart of Middle-earth, shaping its memory and its hope. We wander deeper now, not to recount the wars of old, but to trace the question that weaves this tale. Why do the Silmarils' fragments of divine radiance kindle endless strife? The world that emerges from the War of Wrath is not the Beleriand of old. The land is fractured, its rivers rerouted, its mountains humbled. The elves, both Noldor and Sindar, are diminished, their numbers thinned by battle and sorrow. Some sail west to Valinor, answering the Valar's pardon, seeking the light of the two trees they once knew. Others remain in Middle-earth, their hearts tied to its wild beauty, its stars, its silences. Among them is Elrond, son of Eärendil, and Elwing, raised by Maglor in the shadow of the third kinslaying. His brother Elros, choosing mortality, founds the line of Numenor, a kingdom of men destined to rise and fall under the Silmarils' distant glow. The jewels themselves are gone from mortal reach, yet their presence endures not as objects but as a memory, a longing, a question that haunts the ages. The Silmarils, though scattered, are not silent. Their light whispers in the heart, stirring both hope and unrest. Let us linger here, for the end of the War of Wrath is not a resolution, but a turning. The Silmarils, crafted by Fëanor to hold the light of creation, were never meant to be possessed. Their hallowing by Varda set them apart, a radiance too great for mortal hands, yet their beauty awakened a hunger that drove Elves men and even Valar to strife. Fëanor's oath, sworn in wrath, was the first spark, but the flames spread far beyond his house. Thingol's pride, the dwarves' greed, the sons of Fëanor's despair, all were caught in the Silmarils' orbit, their choices weaving a tapestry of loss. Now, with the jewels lost to sky, earth, and sea, we must ask, what does it mean to lose a light, yet feel its glow? The Silmarils, though gone, are not forgotten, and their absence shapes the world as surely as their presence did. In Lindon, where the remnants of the Elves gather under Gil-galad, High King of the Noldor, the Silmarils' legacy lives in the songs of the Eldar. Elrond, wise and gentle, becomes a lore master, his heart a bridge between the grief of the past and the hope of the future. He carries the memory of the Silmarils not as a treasure to be sought, but as a lesson, a warning of what desire can rot. The Evening Star. Eärendil's Silmaril shines above a light that guides sailors and soothes the weary. Yet even this star, radiant and eternal, stirs longing. Men newly risen in Numenor look to it and dream of immortality, of a light they cannot touch. The Silmarils, though one alone remains visible, are a seed planted in the heart of the world, their strife not ended but transformed. The Second Age dawns, a time of rebuilding, of new kingdoms and new dreams. Numenor, the island gifted to men by the Valar, rises in splendor, its ships sailing the seas, its towers gleaming under the sun. Elros, its first king, bears the blood of elves and men, his life a bridge between the mortal and the eternal. Yet the Silmarils' shadow lingers not in the jewels themselves, but in the hunger they awakened. The Númenóreans, blessed with long life, begin to covet more, to defy death, to rival the Valar, to claim a light beyond their reach. The evening star, shining in the west, becomes a symbol of what they cannot have, and in its light the seeds of envy take root. The Silmarils, though distant, are a mirror reflecting the desires that drive men to greatness and to ruin. Let us pause here, for the rise of Numenor is not merely a new chapter. It is a meditation on longing. The Silmarils, though lost, taught the world to crave what is beyond grasp. Fëanor craved their creation, Morgoth their power, the sons of Fëanor their legacy. Now the Númenóreans crave eternity, their hearts stirred by the star that was once a jewel. What do we yearn for when the light we seek is not ours to hold? A love, a glory, a life without end. The Silmarils, scattered though they are, whisper of a truth: to desire greatly is to risk greatly. The Númenóreans, like the Noldor before them, will learn this lesson, their story, a new verse in the Silmarils' endless song. In Middle-earth, the Elves forge new realms. Gil-galad rules in Lindon, his kingdom a haven of light and lore. Celebrimbor, grandson of Fëanor, founds Eärendil, a land of craft and beauty, where the Noldor's skill shines anew. Celebrimbor, though he bears his grandfather's fire, seeks not to hoard, but to create, to weave beauty that endures. Yet the Silmarils' legacy haunts him, their light a memory he cannot escape. When Annatar, a fair and cunning lord, comes to Eärendil offering knowledge beyond mortal reach, Celebrimbor listens. Annatar is no friend, but Sauron, Morgoth's lieutenant, cloaked in deceit. He speaks of rings of power to preserve and enhance, and Celebrimbor, dreaming of a world unmarred, forges the rings of power. The Silmarils, though absent, are the root of this craft, their light, the inspiration for a new kind of strife. The Rings of Power. 3 for the Elves, 7 for the Dwarves, 9 for men, are a shadow of the Silmarils' glory. They promise preservation, strength, dominion, yet they are bound to Sauron's one ring, a tool of enslavement. Celebrimbor, betrayed, sees his dream turn to ash. Eärendil falls, its forges silenced, its lord slain. The Silmarils, though not present, cast their shadow here, for the desire to capture light to hold eternity echoes Fëanor's own fire. Sauron, who once coveted the Silmarils in Morgoth's crown, now seeks to bind the world to his will, his one ring, a perverse reflection of the jewel's radiance. The strife of the Silmarils, though centuries past, lives in this new war, its roots deep in the heart's hunger. Let us linger here, for the forging of the rings is not merely a betrayal, it is a revelation. The Silmarils, though lost, taught the world to seek power over time, over death, over fate. Celebrimbor, like Fëanor, poured his soul into his craft, yet his rings, like the Silmarils, became chains. What do we create when we seek to rival the divine? A legacy, a burden, a shadow we cannot outrun. The Silmarils, scattered to sky, earth, and sea, are a warning beauty when sought for possession becomes a curse. Sauron's rise, born of the rings, is a new verse in their strife, a reminder that the light we chase can lead us to darkness. In Númenor, the Silmarils' influence grows, though their name is seldom spoken. The Númenorians, proud and mighty, sail to Middle-earth, their ships bearing gifts and swords. They aid Gil-galad against Sauron, their strength a bulwark against his shadow. Yet their hearts turn westward to Valinor, where the Valar dwell and the evening star was born. The Silmaril in the sky. Eärendil's light becomes a torment, a reminder of what they cannot have. Ar-Pharazôn. The last king grows proud, his heart poisoned by Sauron's whispers. He dreams of immortality, of seizing the undying lands, of claiming a light beyond mortal reach. The Silmarils, though one alone shines, are the root of this hubris, their legacy a hunger that drives men to defy the gods. The fall of Númenor is a storm that shakes the world. Ar-Pharazôn's armada sails to Valinor, a blasphemy against the Valar's will. Ilúvatar, the One intervenes, sundering the world. Númenor sinks beneath the waves, its glory drowned, its people lost. Sauron, cast back to Middle-earth, loses his fair form, but not his malice. The Silmarils, though not named, are the spark of this ruin, their light, the star that led Númenor to its doom. Eärendil, a survivor, leads the faithful to Middle-earth, founding Gondor and Arnor, kingdoms of men that carry the memory of Númenor's fall. The evening star, still shining, is a bittersweet hope, a reminder of loss and redemption. Let us pause here, for Númenor's fall is not merely a tragedy, it is a mirror. The Silmarils, though scattered, taught the world to covet what is forbidden. Ar-Pharazôn, like Fëanor, sought a light beyond his reach, his pride a flame that consumed all. What do we defy when we seek to grasp eternity? A law, a truth, a boundary we cannot cross. The Silmarils lost, but ever-present whisper of a cost that grows with every desire. Númenor's ruin, like the kinslangs before, is a verse in their endless strife, a reminder that the light we love can lead us to shadow. In Middle-earth, the last alliance rises, elves and men united against Sauron. Gil-galad and Eärendil, their banners bright, march to Mordor, where the One Ring gleams on Sauron's hand. The Silmarils, though distant, are the root of this war, their legacy woven into the rings of power. The evening star shines above, a guide for the weary, a hope for the fallen. Isildur, Elendil's son, cuts the One Ring from Sauron's hand, but its power, a shadow of the Silmarils' light, binds him. The Second Age ends, yet the strife endures, for the light of the Silmarils, though scattered, is never silent. The Silmarils, one in the sky, one in the earth, one in the sea, are more than jewels. They are a question asked of every heart. What will you sacrifice for the light you love? Fëanor gave his soul, Medros his hope, Númenor its glory. And we who hear their tale must ask what we would give. The wind of the Third Age stirs, now carrying the echo of Númenor's waves, the song of Eärendil's star, the weight of a light eternal. The Silmarils shine still, their radiance a call to both ruin and redemption, drawing us onward through the ages. The stars wheel above a Middle-earth reshaped by the cataclysms of ages past, their light, a faint echo of the radiance that once burned in the Silmarils. The Second Age has faded, its glories and sorrows woven into the songs of the Eldar, and the tales of men. Sauron. The shadow of Morgoth's malice was cast down by the last alliance, yet his one ring, a perverse reflection of the Silmarils' light, endures a seed of strife sown in the heart of the world. The Third Age dawns a time of waning and waiting, where the kingdoms of men Gondor and Arnor stand as flickering beacons against the gathering dark. The Silmarils themselves are lost. One shines as Eärendil's star, a celestial hope in the evening sky. Another lies buried in the earth's fiery depths. The third rests in the sea's unyielding embrace. Yet their legacy, like a river running beneath stone, shapes the choices of those who walk under the stars. We journey deeper now, not to recount battles or trace lineages, but to follow the question that binds this tale. Why do the Silmarils' fragments of eternal light kindle endless strife? The Third Age is a world of fading glory. The Elves, their numbers dwindling, linger in realms of memory. Rivendell, where Elrond keeps his lore. Lothlorien, where Galadriel weaves her light. The Grey Havens, where Círdan watches the sea. The Silmarils, though gone from mortal hands, live in their songs, their radiance a whisper in the heart of every elf who remembers Valinor. Eärendil's star, the Silmaril in the sky, is more than a beacon. It is a reminder of sacrifice, of a light won through love and loss. To men it is a marvel, a star that stirs dreams of greatness and eternity. Yet dreams when unchecked become desires, and desires when unbound become chains. The Silmarils, though scattered, are a presence, their light a question that asks, what will you seek and what will you sacrifice to claim it? In Gondor, the line of Eärendil endures its kings, bearing the weight of a legacy born in Númenor's fall. The Silmarils, though seldom named, are woven into their history, for the evening star guided their ancestors from the drowning waves. Yet Gondor's strength wanes, its watchtowers crumbling, its people haunted by the shadow of Mordor, where Sauron's spirit stirs anew. The One Ring forged in the fires of Mount Doom is the Silmarils' dark heir, its power a mockery of their hallowed light. Isildur, who cut the ring from Sauron's hand, could not destroy it. Its allure a chain that bound him as surely as Fëanor's oath bound his sons. The ring passes into shadow, lost in the rivers of time, yet its presence, like the Silmarils, shapes the world, a latent fire waiting to flare. Let us linger here, for the Third Age is not merely a new era, it is a meditation on absence. The Silmarils, though lost, taught the world to crave what is beyond reach. Fëanor sought their creation, Morgoth their dominion, Númenor their eternity. Now the ring, a shadow of their light, awakens the same hunger. What do we pursue when the object of our desire is gone, yet its echo remains, a glory, a power, a light we cannot name? The Silmarils, scattered to sky, earth, and sea, are a warning. The things we love most dearly are the ones that bind us most tightly. Their strife, though centuries past, lives in the ring, in the choices of those who feel its call. In the quiet corners of Middle-earth, a new people rise, humble and unnoticed. The hobbits, small folk of the Shire, live in green hills, their days filled with simple joys, pipeweed ale, and the turning of seasons. They know nothing of the Silmarils, yet their tale will weave into the legacy of those radiant jewels. Bilbo Baggins, a hobbit of no great ambition, stumbles upon the One Ring in the depths of a goblin-infested mountain. Its power, a shadow of the Silmarils' light, is subtle, a whisper that bends the heart. Bilbo, unaware, carries it home, its weight a secret he does not yet understand. The ring, like the Silmarils, is a mirror reflecting the desires of its bearer. To Bilbo it is a curiosity, a trinket. Yet its presence stirs the world, drawing the eyes of Sauron, who seeks its return. The Silmarils' legacy lives in this moment, for the ring is their heir in strife. The jewels hallowed by Varda burned the unworthy, their light a judgment. The ring forged by Sauron corrupts all who bear it, its power, a perversion of the Silmarils' sanctity. Yet both awaken the same question. What will you do with the light you hold? Fëanor hoarded his jewels. Morgoth defiled them. Maedhros and Maglor burned for them. Now the ring tests new hearts, its shadow, a reminder of the Silmarils' cost. Bilbo, though he knows it not, stands at the edge of a new chapter, his choices a thread in the tapestry of light and loss. Let us pause here, for Bilbo's finding of the ring is not merely a chance encounter, it is a revelation. The Silmarils, though lost, taught the world to seek power, to hold beauty, to defy fate. The ring, Their dark reflection carries this lesson forward, its allure a chain that binds the mighty and the meek. What do we find when we stumble upon a light we were not meant to bear? A treasure, a burden, a truth we cannot unsee. The Silmarils shining in sky, earth, and sea are a memory that shapes the ring's path, their strife a fire that burns through the ages. In Rivendell, Elrond watches the world, his heart heavy with the memory of the Silmarils and the wars they wrought. He knows the ring's power, its connection to the strife of old. When Gandalf the Grey Pilgrim learns of Bilbo's treasure, he brings it to Elrond's council. The ring, they decide, must be destroyed, its fire quenched in the flames of Mount Doom. Frodo, Bilbo's heir, takes up the burden, a hobbit bearing a weight that once broke kings and heroes. The Fellowship of the Ring forms Aragorn, heir of Eärendil, Legolas, prince of the Elves, Gimli, son of the Dwarves, Boromir, steward's heir of Gondor, and the hobbits Sam, Merry, and Pippin. Their quest is not for the Silmarils yet. The jewel's legacy shapes their path, for the ring is a shadow of their light, its strife a continuation of their curse. The journey is a crucible testing each heart. Boromir, proud and desperate, seeks the ring's power, his desire echoing the Númenóreans' hunger for eternity. Aragorn, bearing the sword of Eärendil, resists its call, his heart fixed on a hope beyond dominion. Frodo, small and unassuming, feels the ring's weight grow, its whisper a torment that recalls the Silmarils' burning light. The Evening Star. Eärendil's Silmaril shines above a guide through the darkness, a reminder of the love that won it. Galadriel, bearing Nenya, one of the elven rings, faces Frodo and sees in him the same burden she once knew. She could take the ring, become a queen of light, yet she refuses her wisdom, a shield against the Silmarils' ancient temptation. Let us linger here, for Galadriel's refusal is not merely a moment of restraint, it is a mirror of redemption. The Silmarils, though lost, taught the world to crave power over time, over fate, over death. Galadriel, who once sailed from Valinor in the wake of Fëanor's rebellion, knows this craving. Yet she chooses to let it pass, to remain herself, to fade with her people. What do we release when the light we could claim would consume us? A dream, a glory, a shadow we cannot bear. The Silmarils, scattered and eternal, are a lesson. The light we love can destroy us, yet, in letting it go, we may find peace. Galadriel's choice is a new verse in their strife, a note of hope amid the sorrow. The Fellowship fractures its members, scattered by fate and choice. Frodo and Sam press on to Mordor, the ring a growing weight. Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli pursue the orcs who captured Merry and Pippin, their path leading to Rohan and Gondor. The War of the Ring begins, a storm that echoes the War of Wrath. Sauron's armies march, his eye fixed on the ring, yet his heart is stirred by the same hunger that drove Morgoth to covet the Silmarils. The Evening Star shines above a light that Sauron cannot dim, a reminder of the valor's mercy and the world's hope. The Silmarils, though one alone is seen, are the root of this war, their legacy woven into the ring's power, their strife a fire that burns through the ages. In Mordor, Frodo falters, the ring's weight too great. Sam, steadfast and true, carries him their friendship, a light that rivals Eärendil's star. At Mount Doom, Frodo claims the ring, its power a shadow of the Silmarils' allure. Yet Gollum, twisted by the ring's long hold, seizes it, falling into the fire. The ring is destroyed. Sauron's spirit broken, his tower crumbling. The Third Age ends, yet the Silmarils' legacy endures, for their light, eternal and unyielding, shaped the choices that brought this victory. Frodo, scarred by his burden, sails west with Elrond and Galadriel, seeking healing in Valinor. Sam returns to the Shire, his heart a garden where hope grows anew. Let us pause here, for the destruction of the ring is not merely a triumph, it is a requiem. The Silmarils, though lost, taught the world to seek light, to hold power, to defy darkness. The ring. Their dark air tested the hearts of all who bore it, its strife a continuation of their curse. What do we carry when the light we bear wounds us? A duty, a love, a hope we cannot release. The Silmarils, shining in sky, earth, and sea, are a memory that shapes the world's redemption. Their strife, a fire that burns to purify as much as to destroy. The Fourth Age begins, a time of men where the Elves fade into legend. Aragorn, crowned king, rules Gondor, his love for Arwen, Elrond's daughter, a bridge between mortal and immortal. The Evening Star. The Silmaril of Eärendil shines above a light that guides the weary, a hope that endures. The Silmarils, though lost, are not forgotten. their radiance a whisper in the songs of Middle-earth. They are more than jewels. They are a question asked of every heart. What will you sacrifice for the light you love? Frodo gave his peace, Galadriel her power, Aragorn his solitude. And we who hear their tale must ask what we would give. The wind of a new age stirs, now carrying the echo of Frodo's burden. Galadriel's choice, Eärendil's star. The Silmarils shine, still their light a call to both ruin and redemption, drawing us onward through the ages to the heart of a tale that is both ancient and ever new. Hen, the light is dim. Sam, who carried Frodo when the ring's weight was too great, embodies this lesson. What do we nurture when the light we seek is beyond our grasp? A home, a love, a hope that outlasts us. The Silmarils, scattered and eternal, are a memory that shapes the Shire's quiet days. Their strife, a fire that warms as much as it burns. Sam's life, simple though it seems, is a new verse in their tale, a note of redemption amid the sorrow. Beyond the Shire, the world of men grows, its cities rising, its ships sailing to new shores. Yet the Silmarils' legacy lingers not in jewels, but in the desires they awakened. The men of Gondor, proud and ambitious, look to the evening star and dream of greatness, their hearts stirred by the same hunger that drove Númenor to its doom. The Silmarils, though lost, are a question that echoes through their halls. What will you seek, and what will you sacrifice to claim it? Some, like Aragorn, seek justice, their hearts fixed on a light beyond power. Others, less wise, seek dominion, their desires a shadow of the oath that bound Fëanor's sons. The Fourth Age, though peaceful, is not free of strife, for the Silmarils' light, eternal and unyielding, stirs the heart to both glory and ruin. In the east, where Mordor's ashes settle, new shadows stir. The Silmarils, though gone, taught the world that darkness is never fully vanquished. Sauron's spirit, though broken, leaves a legacy of fear, a whisper that lingers in the hearts of men. The Easterlings and Eärendil, once his allies, rebuild their lands, their tales of the ring, a dark mirror of the Silmarils' radiance. The evening star shining above is a light they too see, yet its meaning varies, a hope to some, a taunt to others. The Silmarils, though one alone is visible, are a presence that shapes the world's divisions, their strife a fire that smolders in the shadows, waiting to flare. Let us linger here, for the East's rebuilding is not merely a recovery, it is a meditation on division. The Silmarils, though scattered, taught the world to see light as both gift and curse. Fëanor's oath divided kin. Morgoth's greed divided the divine. Númenor's pride divided men from the valor. Now the Fourth Age bears this division, its peoples united by the world they share, yet separated by the desires they hold. What do we build when the light we see divides us? A kingdom, a grudge, a hope we cannot share. The Silmarils, lost but ever present, are a lesson. The light we love can unite us, yet it can also tear us apart. The East's tale, like the West's, is a new verse in their strife, a reminder that the heart's hunger outlasts the jewel. In the West, the Elves prepare to depart. Círdan the shipwright builds vessels for the last of the Eldar, their sails catching the light of Eärendil's star. Galadriel, bearing Nenya, sails with Celeborn, her heart a tapestry of joy and sorrow. Elrond with Vilya follows his wisdom, a gift to the world he leaves. The Silmarils, though one shines above, are woven into their departure, for their light was the fire of the Noldor's rebellion, the spark of their exile. The evening star, Eärendil's Silmaril, is a farewell, a light that blesses their return to Valinor. Yet even in the undying lands, the Silmarils' strife lingers, for the Elves carry the memory of Fëanor's oath, the kinslayings, the wars that broke Beleriand. Their healing, though granted, is not erasure, for the Silmarils' light burns in their souls, a memory that both wounds and redeems. In Valinor, the Valar watch the world, their hearts turn to the Silmarils' fate. Manwë atop Taniquetil sees Eärendil's star, its light a testament to Ilúvatar's will. Varda, who hallowed the Silmarils, knows their radiance endures, though their strife has scarred the world. The jewels, though lost to earth and sea, are not beyond the Valar's sight, yet they remain where they fell, a mystery even to the divine. The Silmarils, eternal and unyielding, are a question even the Valar cannot fully answer. Why does light so pure kindle such sorrow? Their presence in Valinor, though unseen, is a reminder that even the divine cannot undo the choices of the heart. The Silmarils' strife, though ended in war, lives in the silence of eternity, a fire that burns without consuming. Let us pause here, for the elves' departure is not merely an ending, it is a revelation. The Silmarils, though scattered, taught the world that light is both gift and burden. The elves who bore their radiance carry their memory west, their songs a lament and a hope. What do we leave behind when the light we loved shapes our farewell? A tale, a wound, a redemption we cannot claim. The Silmarils shining in sky, earth, and sea are a memory that shapes the Fourth Age's dawn, their strife, a fire that burns to illuminate as much as to destroy. The elves' sails catching the star's light are a new verse in their tale, a note of grace amid the loss. The men of the Fourth Age, free of the ring's shadow, face a world of their own making. Aragorn's heirs rule Gondor, their hearts turn to peace, yet the Silmarils' legacy lingers in their ambitions. The evening star, a Silmaril born by Eärendil, shines above a guide for explorers who sail to new lands, a spark for poets who dream of eternity. Yet dreams when unbound become desires, and desires when unchecked become strife. The Silmarils, though lost, are a question that echoes through Gondor's halls. What will you seek, and what will you sacrifice to claim it? The men of the Fourth Age, like their forebears, must answer their choices, a new chapter in the Silmarils' endless tale. In the Shire, Sam's children grow their lives a garden, where the Silmarils' light blooms in tales of Frodo's quest. The Red Book, written by Bilbo and Frodo, passes to Sam its pages, a record of the ring's burden, a shadow of the Silmarils' fire. The evening star shining above is a light they know as hope, yet its radiance stirs a quiet longing, a memory of a world greater than their own. The Silmarils, though one alone is seen, are a presence in the Shire, their strife a whisper in the stories that shape its future. Sam, old and wise, sails west at last, his heart full of the light he carried, a final pilgrim in the Silmarils' tale. The world turns its seasons, a rhythm of growth and fading. The Silmarils, though lost, are not silent, their light a thread that weaves through the ages. Eärendil's star shines above a hope that endures, a reminder of the love that won it. The earth and sea hold their secrets, their radiance a mystery that whispers of eternity. The Silmarils are more than jewels. They are a question asked of every heart. What will you sacrifice for the light you love? Aragorn gave his solitude, Sam his peace, Arwen her immortality. And we who hear their tale must ask what we would give. The wind of the Fourth Age stirs, now carrying the echo of elven sails, the song of Eärendil's star, the weight of a light eternal. The Silmarils shine still, their radiance a call to both ruin and redemption, drawing us onward through the ages to the heart of a tale that is both ancient and ever new. The twilight of the Fourth Age settles over Middle-earth, its skies painted with the hues of a world both ancient and renewed. Gondor's towers gleam under the reign of Aragorn's heirs, their banners fluttering in a breeze that carries the scent of blooming fields and forgotten ruins. The elves have all but fated their last ships, sailing west to Valinor, leaving behind a silence where their songs once rang. The hobbits of the Shire tend their gardens, their lives a quiet counterpoint to the grandeur of men's kingdoms. Above Eärendil's star, the Silmaril borne aloft by sacrifice, shines as the evening star, a celestial flame that kindles hope and stirs longing in those who gaze upon it. The other Silmarils, one lost to the earth's molten heart, another to the sea's eternal depths, are beyond the grasp of mortal hands, yet their radiance lingers not as jewels, but as a memory, a whisper that shapes the dreams of a world moving forward. We journey deeper now, not to chronicle the deeds of kings or the fading of legends, but to trace the question that binds this tale. Why do the Silmarils' embers of divine light kindle endless strife? The Fourth Age is a time of men, their cities rising where elven realms once stood, their ships charting seas untraveled by their forebears. Gondor and Arnor, united under the line of Elisar, bear the weight of a legacy forged in the fires of Numenor's fall and the wars against Sauron. The Silmarils, though rarely spoken of in the halls of men, are woven into their history, for the evening star guided their ancestors from the drowning waves, a light that promised hope yet whispered of loss. To the men of Gondor, Eärendil's star is a symbol of endurance, yet also a reminder of what lies beyond their reach, an eternity they cannot claim, a radiance they cannot hold. The hobbits, now woven into the world's great tales through the deeds of Frodo and Sam, live simply, their hearts untouched by the Silmarils' name, yet their lives are shaped by the light that shines above a star that stirs a quiet yearning in their tales of old. Let us linger here, for the Fourth Age is not merely a new chapter. It is a meditation on longing. The Silmarils, though scattered to sky, earth, and sea, taught the world to crave what is beyond grasp. Fëanor's fire burned for their creation, Morgoth's greed for their dominion, Númenor's pride for their eternity. Now in the Fourth Age, the evening star awakens a subtler desire not for power or glory, but for meaning, for a connection to a past that grows ever more distant. What do we long for when the light we see is a memory, a glow we cannot touch, a story, a purpose, a truth that outlasts us? The Silmarils, though lost, are a presence that shapes this age, their strife transformed into a quiet ache, a fire that warms the heart even as it wounds. In Gondor, the line of Aragorn endures, its kings ruling with wisdom, tempered by the memory of their forebears' triumphs and failures. Eldarion, Aragorn's son, inherits a kingdom at peace, yet his heart is stirred by the tales of his father's deeds, of the ring's destruction, of the star that guided the world through darkness. The Silmarils, though one alone shines above, are woven into these tales, for the evening star is a thread that binds Gondor's history to the ancient strife of the Eldar. The men of Gondor, proud and ambitious, look to the star and dream of greatness, their hearts echoing the same hunger that drove Númenor to its doom. Yet Eldarion, raised on the wisdom of Arwen and the lore of Elrond, seeks a different path, not dominion but stewardship, a light that serves rather than consumes. The Silmarils, though distant, are a question that lingers in his court. What will you seek, and what will you sacrifice to claim it? Arwen, now mortal, walks beside Eldarion, her grace a fading echo of Luthien, whose love won a Silmaril from Morgoth's crown. Her choice to forsake immortality binds her to the Fourth Age, yet her heart carries the weight of the Silmarils' legacy. The evening star shining above is a bittersweet reminder of her father Eärendil, of her mother Elwing, of a light that cost her kin so dearly. Arwen's love for Aragorn, like Luthien's for Beren, is a testament to the Silmarils' enduring power, not as jewels, but as a symbol of sacrifice. Yet love, even so great, is touched by sorrow. When Aragorn's mortal life ends, Arwen will fade, her light dimming in the forests of Lothlorien, now silent without Galadriel's song. The Silmarils, though one shines in the sky, are a presence in her twilight, their strife a quiet grief that shapes her final days. Let us pause here, for Arwen's choice is not merely a personal loss, it is a mirror of devotion. The Silmarils, though scattered, taught the world that love is both gift and burden. Arwen, like Luthien, chose a mortal path for love, her heart bound to a light that burns briefly but brightly. What do we give when the light we love demands our eternity? A dream, a home, a life we cannot reclaim. The Silmarils, lost but ever present, are a lesson. The light we hold dearest is the one that costs us most. Arwen's fading, like the Elves' departure, is a new verse in their tale, a note of sacrifice that resonates through the Fourth Age. In the Shire, the hobbits live on their lives, a tapestry of simple joys woven with the threads of great deeds. Samwise Gamgee's children, raised on tales of the Ring's quest, carry the Red Book, its pages a record of Frodo's burden, a shadow of the Silmarils' fire. The evening star, which Sam named for Galadriel's file, shines above their hills, its light a comfort in the dark. Yet even in the Shire, the Silmarils' legacy stirs a quiet longing, a sense that the world is greater than the fields they know. Rosie, Sam's daughter, grows with a curiosity that echoes Bilbo's, her heart stirred by stories of Eärendil, of a star that was once a jewel. The Silmarils, though one alone is seen, are a presence in the Shire, their strife a whisper in the tales that shape its future. When Sam sails west, an old hobbit seeking Frodo's peace, he leaves behind a world touched by the light. He carried a final pilgrim in the Silmarils' tale. Beyond the Shire, the men of the Fourth Age explore new lands, their ships sailing to shores unseen by their ancestors. The reunited kingdom under Eldarion's rule sends emissaries to the east and south, where the Easterlings and Haradrim rebuild their lives, their tales of the Ring, a dark mirror of the Silmarils' radiance. The evening star shining above is a light they all see, yet its meaning varies, a hope to some, a challenge to others. The Silmarils, though lost, are a presence that shapes these new alliances. Their strife, a fire that smolders in the negotiations, the treaties, the dreams of a world united. Yet unity is fragile when desires differ, and the Silmarils' legacy, though centuries past, lingers in the heart's quiet. Hunger's a question that asks, what will you build and what will you break to claim it? Let us linger here, for the exploration of new lands is not merely an adventure, it is a meditation on ambition. The Silmarils, though scattered, taught the world to seek light as both gift and curse. Fëanor's oath divided kin, Morgoth's greed divided the divine, Numenor's pride divided men from the valor. Now the Fourth Age bears this division, its peoples united by the world they share, yet separated by the desires they hold. What do we discover when the light we seek leads us to new horizons? A home, a rival, a truth we cannot unsee. The Silmarils, lost but ever present, are a lesson. The light we chase can unite us, yet it can also fracture us. The East's tale, like the West's, is a new verse in their strife, a reminder that the heart's hunger outlasts the jewel. In the far west, Valinor shines its light untouched by the mortal world. The elves who sailed Galadriel, Elrond, Círdan find healing in the undying lands, their hearts eased by the presence of the valor. Yet even here the Silmarils' legacy lingers, for their light was the spark of the Noldor's rebellion, the fire of their exile. Manwë atop Taniqatil gazes at Eärendil's star, its radiance a testament to Ilúvatar's will. Varda, who hallowed the Silmarils, knows their light endures though their strife has scarred the world. The jewels lost to earth and sea are not beyond the valor's sight, yet they remain where they fell, a mystery even to the divine. The Silmarils, eternal and unyielding, are a question that haunts even Valinor. Why does light so pure kindle such sorrow? Their presence, though unseen, is a reminder that even the divine cannot undo the choices of the heart. The Silmarils' strife, though ended in war, lives in the silence of eternity, a fire that burns without consuming. In Middle-earth, the men of the Fourth Age face a world of their own making. The reunited kingdom grows its cities, bustling its fields abundant. Yet the Silmarils' legacy lingers not in jewels, but in the desires they awakened. The Evening Star. Eärendil's Silmaril shines above, a guide for explorers, a spark for poets, a light that stirs the heart to dream. Yet dreams, when unbound, become desires, and desires, when unchecked, become strife. The men of Gondor, like their Númenórean ancestors, look to the star and feel a quiet hunger for knowledge, for glory, for a connection to the divine. Eldarion's heirs, wise but mortal, must navigate this hunger, their choices a new chapter in the Silmarils' endless tale. The Silmarils, though lost, are a question that echoes through their halls. What will you seek, and what will you sacrifice to claim it? In the south, the Eärendil forge new paths, their lands no longer bound by Sauron's shadow. Their tales of the ring of the war that shook the world carry a distant echo of the Silmarils' strife. For the ring was a shadow of their light, its power a perversion of their sanctity. The evening star shining above is a light they interpret through their own legends, a guide to some, a mystery to others. The Silmarils, though one alone is visible, are a presence that shapes their renewal, their strife, a fire that warms as much as it warns. The Eärendil, like the men of Gondor, must answer the Silmarils' question, what will you build, and what will you break to claim it? Their answer, like all answers, is a new verse in the Silmarils' tale, a note of hope tempered by the memory of loss. In the north, the dwarves of Erebor and the Iron Hills endure their forges, glowing with the skill of their ancestors. The Silmarils, though never theirs, touched their history, for the dwarves of Nogrod coveted a Silmaril, their greed kindling the fall of Doriath. Now in the Fourth Age, the dwarves trade with men, their halls filled with the wealth of peace. Yet the evening star shining above stirs a quiet longing, a memory of the beauty their forebears sought. The Silmarils, though lost, are a presence in their craft, their strife a whisper in the gems they carve, the gold they shape. The dwarves, like all peoples, bear the Silmarils' question, what will you create, and what will you destroy to claim it? Their work enduring and bright is a new verse in the Silmarils' tale, a note of resilience amid the sorrow. The world turns its seasons, a rhythm of growth and fading. The Silmarils, though lost, are not silent, their light a thread that weaves through the ages. Eärendil's star shines above a hope that endures, a reminder of the love that won it. The earth and sea hold their secrets, their radiance a mystery that whispers of eternity. The Silmarils are more than jewels. They are a question asked of every heart. What will you sacrifice for the light you love? Eldarion gave his youth, Arwen her immortality, Sam his simplicity, and we who hear their tale must ask what we would give. The wind of the Fourth Age stirs now, carrying the echo of Arwen's farewell, the song of Eärendil's star, the weight of a light eternal. The Silmarils shine still their radiance, a call to both ruin and redemption, drawing us onward through the ages to the heart of a tale that is both ancient and ever new. The stars of the Fourth Age burn steady above a Middle-earth that breathes with the pulse of a new era, its lands alive with the ambitions of men and the fading echoes of elven song. Gondor's white towers stand tall, their stones warmed by the sun of a kingdom flourishing under the airs of J.R.R. The Shire's green hills ripple with the laughter of hobbits, their lives a quiet hymn to the simple joys that outlast empires. In the east and south, new peoples forge their paths, their cities rising from the ashes of old wars, their tales interwoven with the memory of a world once torn by shadow. Above Eärendil's star, the Silmaril lifted to the heavens by love's unyielding courage shines, as the evening star, a light that stirs the heart with hope and haunts it with longing. The other Silmarils, one cradled in the earth's fiery depths, another lost to the sea's eternal embrace, are beyond the reach of any hand, yet their radiance endures not as jewels, but as a presence, a silence that speaks louder than any song. We journey deeper now, not to recount the rise of kingdoms or the passing of heroes, but to trace the question that binds this tale. Why do the Silmarils, vessels of divine light, kindle endless strife? The Fourth Age is a world of men, their voices filling the spaces where elven melodies once lingered. The reunited kingdom stretching from Gondor to Arnor thrives under Eldarion's heirs, their rule a tapestry woven from the threads of Aragorn's wisdom and Arwen's grace. The Silmarils, though seldom named in the courts of men, are etched into their history, for the evening star guided their ancestors through the ruin of Numenor, a beacon that promised salvation, yet whispered of a light forever out of reach. To the men of Gondor, Eärendil's star is a symbol of resilience, yet it also kindles a quiet unrest, a yearning for the divine, for a glory that transcends their mortal span. The hobbits, untouched by such ambitions, know the star as a light in their bedtime tales, a spark that illuminates stories of Frodo and Sam. Yet even they feel its distant call, a whisper of a world greater than their own. Let us linger here, for the Fourth Age is not merely a time of growth, it is a meditation on silence. The Silmarils, though scattered to sky, earth, and sea, taught the world to listen for what is absent, to feel the weight of a light that no longer shines in mortal hands. Fëanor's fire burned to create them, Morgoth's greed to possess them, Numenor's pride to rival them. Now in the Fourth Age their absence is a presence, a silence that speaks of loss and longing, of beauty that wounds as much as it heals. What do we hear when the light we love is gone, yet its echo lingers in our souls? A memory, a hope, a truth we cannot unlearn. The Silmarils, though lost, are a force that shapes this age, their strife transformed into a quiet ache, a fire that burns in the heart's unspoken dreams. In Gondor, the line of J.R.R. endures, its kings ruling with a wisdom forged in the fires of the Third Age. Eldarion's heirs, bearing the blood of Aragorn and Arwen, govern a kingdom at peace, yet their hearts are stirred by the tales of their ancestors, of the ring's destruction, of the star that shone through darkness, of a light that once drove the world to war. The Silmarils, though one alone shines above, are woven into these tales, for the evening star is a thread that binds Gondor's present to the ancient strife of the Eldar. The men of Gondor, ambitious and far-seeing, look to the star and dream of legacy, their hearts echoing the same hunger that led Numenor to its ruin. Yet these kings, raised on the lore of Elrond and the songs of Arwen, seek a different path, not conquest, but creation, a light that builds rather than consumes. The Silmarils, though distant, are a question that lingers in their halls. What will you forge, and what will you surrender to claim it? Arwen's memory, though she has faded, lives in the hearts of her children and their children, her sacrifice a mirror of Luthiens who won a Silmaril through love's impossible courage. The evening star shining above is a reminder of her lineage of Eärendil, who bore the Silmaril to the sky, of Elwing, who flew as a bird to save it, of Luthien, whose song subdued Morgoth himself. Yet Arwen's choice to embrace mortality to bind her light to Aragorn's fleeting life carries the Silmaril's legacy into the Fourth Age, not as a jewel, but as a testament to love's cost. Her descendants, mortal, yet touched by elven grace, rule with a heart that knows both joy and sorrow, their lives shaped by the Silmaril's distant fire. The star above is a bittersweet guide, its radiance a reminder that even the greatest light casts a shadow of loss. Let us pause here, for Arwen's legacy is not merely a royal line, it is a mirror of sacrifice. The Silmarils, though scattered, taught the world that love is both gift and wound. Arwen, like Luthien, gave her eternity for love, her heart bound to a light that burned brightly but briefly. What do we offer when the light we cherish demands our all? A dream, a future, a life we cannot keep. The Silmarils lost, but ever present, are a lesson. The light we hold dearest is the one that costs us most. Arwen's children ruling in Gondor are a new verse in their tale, a note of grace that resonates through the Fourth Age, tempered by the sorrow of her fading. In the Shire, the hobbits weave their lives into the fabric of the Fourth Age, their days filled with the rhythms of planting and harvest, their nights warmed by tales of old. The Red Book passed down from Samwise Gamgee is a treasure in their homes, its pages a record of the Ring's burden, a shadow of the Silmaril's fire. The evening star, which Sam named for Galadriel's file, shines above their hills, its light a comfort in the dark, a spark in the stories they tell their children. Eleanor, Sam's daughter, grows with a love for these tales, her heart stirred by the star's glow, by the names of Frodo and Eärendil, by a world beyond the Shire's borders. The Silmarils, though one alone is seen, are a presence in the Shire, their strife a whisper in the songs that shape its memory. The hobbits, though they know not the Silmaril's name, carry their light in their resilience, their joy a quiet answer to the question of what light is worth. Beyond the Shire, the men of the Fourth Age explore the world, their ships sailing to distant shores, their cities stretching toward new horizons. The reunited kingdom sends emissaries to the east, where the Easterlings rebuild their lands, their tales of the Ring, a dark echo of the Silmaril's radiance. In the south, the Haradrim forge new alliances, their markets bustling with trade, their stories of the war against Sauron interwoven with the star that shone above it. The evening star. Eärendil's Silmaril is a light they all see, yet its meaning shifts with each culture, a guide to explorers, a mystery to scholars, a challenge to those who dream of power. The Silmarils, though lost, are a presence that shapes these new connections, their strife a fire that smolders in the ambitions, the rivalries, the hopes of a world remade. Yet unity is fragile when desires clash, and the Silmaril's legacy, though centuries past, lingers in the heart's quiet hungers. A question that asks, what will you seek and what will you break to claim it? Let us linger here, for the exploration of the world is not merely a quest, it is a meditation on desire. The Silmarils, though scattered, taught the world to see light as both gift and curse. Fëanor's oath divided kin, Morgoth's greed divided the divine, Númenor's pride divided men from the valor. Now the Fourth Age bears this division, its peoples bound by the world they share, yet separated by the dreams they chase. What do we find when the light we seek leads us to others? A friend, a foe, a truth we cannot share. The Silmarils, lost but ever present, are a lesson. The light we love can unite us, yet it can also fracture us. The tales of the East and South, like those of the West, are a new verse in their strife, a reminder that the heart's hunger outlasts the jewel. In the north, the dwarves of Erebor and the Iron Hills continue their craft, their forges glowing with the skill of their ancestors. The Silmarils, though never theirs to hold, touched their history, for the dwarves of Nogrod coveted a Silmaril, their greed kindling the fall of Doriath. Now in the Fourth Age, the dwarves trade with men, their halls filled with the wealth of peace, their gems sparkling with a beauty that recalls the jewels of Fëanor. The evening star shining above stirs a quiet longing, a memory of the radiance their forebears sought. The Silmarils, though lost, are a presence in their work, their strife a whisper in the stones they carve, the gold they shape. The dwarves, like all peoples, bear the Silmaril's question, what will you create, and what will you destroy to claim it? Their craft enduring and bright is a new verse in the Silmarils' tale, a note of resilience amid the sorrow. In the far west, Valinor glows with a light untouched by mortal strife, its shores welcoming the last of the Elves who sailed from Middle-earth. Galadriel, Elrond, and Círdan, now in the Undying Lands, find solace in the presence of the Valar, their hearts eased by the memory of the two trees whose light the Silmarils once held. Yet even here, the Silmarils' legacy lingers, for their radiance was the spark of the Noldor's rebellion, the fire of their exile. Manwë atop Taniqatil gazes at Eärendil's star, its light a testament to Ilúvatar's will. Varda, who hallowed the Silmarils, knows their radiance endures, though their strife has scarred the world. The jewels lost to earth and sea are not beyond the Valar's sight, yet they remain where they fell, a mystery even to the divine. The Silmarils, eternal and unyielding, are a question that haunts even Valinor. Why does light so pure kindle such sorrow? Their presence, though unseen, is a reminder that even the divine cannot undo the choices of the heart. In Middle-earth, the men of the Fourth Age face a world of their own, making their cities bustling, their fields abundant. Yet the Silmarils' legacy lingers not in jewels, but in the desires they awakened. The evening star, Eärendil's Silmaril, shines above a guide for poets who sing of ancient heroes, for scholars who study the stars, for explorers who seek new lands. Yet dreams when unbound become desires, and desires when unchecked become strife. The men of Gondor, like their Númenórean ancestors, feel a quiet hunger for knowledge, for legacy, for a connection to the divine. Eldarion's heirs, wise but mortal, must navigate this hunger, their choices a new chapter in the Silmarils' endless tale. The Silmarils, though lost, are a question that echoes through their courts. What will you seek and what will you sacrifice to claim it? In the east, the Easterlings forge new identities, their lands no longer bound by Sauron's shadow. Their tales of the Ring of the War that reshaped the world carry a distant echo of the Silmarils' strife for the ring was a shadow of their light, its power a perversion of their sanctity. The evening star shining above is a light they interpret through their own myths, a guide to some, a mystery to others. The Silmarils, though one alone is visible, are a presence that shapes their renewal, their strife, a fire that warms as much as it warns. The Easterlings, like the men of Gondor, must answer the Silmarils' question: what will you build, and what will you break to claim it? Their answer, like all answers, is a new verse in the Silmarils' tale, a note of hope tempered by the memory of loss. The world turns its seasons, a rhythm of birth and fading. The Silmarils, though lost, are not silent, their light a thread that weaves through the ages. Eärendil's star shines above a hope that endures, a reminder of the love that won it. The earth and sea hold their secrets, their radiance a mystery that whispers of eternity. The Silmarils are more than jewels. They are a question asked of every heart. What will you sacrifice for the light you love? Eldarion's heirs gave their youth, Arwen her eternity, the hobbits their simplicity, and we who hear their tale must ask what we would give. The wind of the Fourth Age stirs, now carrying the echo of Arwen's legacy, the song of Eärendil's star, the weight of a light eternal. The Silmarils shine still, their radiance a call to both ruin and redemption, drawing us onward through the ages to the heart of a tale that is both ancient and ever new. The Fourth Age stretches across Middle-earth like a tapestry woven with threads of triumph and quiet sorrow, its lands alive with the dreams of men and the fading whispers of a world that once was. Gondor's towers gleam under the rule of Eldarion's heirs, their white stone, a beacon of hope in a world that knows peace, yet carries the weight of its past. The Shire's green hills ripple with the simple joys of hobbits, their lives a gentle counterpoint to the ambitions of kingdoms. In the east and south, new peoples rise, their cities blooming where shadows once fell, their stories interwoven with the memory of wars fought and lights lost. Above Eärendil's star, the Silmaril borne aloft by love's unyielding sacrifice shines as the evening star, a celestial flame that kindles hope and stirs a longing too deep for words. The other Silmarils, one cradled in the earth's molten heart, another lost to the sea's eternal depths, are beyond mortal reach, yet their radiance endures not as jewels, but as a presence, a light that weaves itself into the soul of the world. We come now to the final steps of our journey, not to close the tale or claim answers, but to trace the question that has bound us from the beginning. Why do the Silmarils' embers of divine light kindle endless strife? The Fourth Age is a world of men, their voices rising where elven songs have faded, their cities stretching toward horizons uncharted by their forebears. The reunited kingdom spanning Gondor and Arnor thrives under the line of Elisar, its kings bearing the legacy of Aragorn's courage and Arwen's grace. The Silmarils, though rarely spoken of in the courts of men, are etched into their history, for the evening star guided their ancestors from the ruin of Numenor, a light that promised redemption, yet whispered of a radiance forever beyond grasp. To the men of Gondor, Eärendil's star is a symbol of endurance, a testament to the resilience of those who survive the drowning waves. Yet it is also a spark that kindles unrest, a yearning for the eternal, for a glory that outshines their mortal span. The hobbits, untouched by such grand desires, know the star as a light in their tales, a glow that illuminates the stories of Frodo, Sam, and a world beyond their fields. Yet even they feel its distant call, a whisper of something greater than themselves. Let us linger here, for the Fourth Age is not merely a time of renewal, it is a meditation on eternity. The Silmarils, though scattered to sky, earth, and sea, taught the world to reach for what lies beyond, to feel the ache of a light that no longer shines in mortal hands. Fëanor's fire burned to create them, Morgoth's greed to claim them, Numenor's pride to rival them. Now in the Fourth Age their absence is a presence, a silence that sings of beauty and loss, of a radiance that wounds as much as it redeems. What do we seek when the light we love is a memory, a glow we cannot hold, a purpose, a legacy, a truth that endures beyond us? The Silmarils, though lost, are a force that shapes this age, their strife transformed into a quiet longing, a fire that burns in the heart's unspoken hopes. In Gondor, the heirs of Eldarion rule with a wisdom forged in the fires of the Third Age, their hearts stirred by the tales of their ancestors, of the ring's destruction, of the star that shone through darkness, of a light that drove the world to both ruin and redemption. The Silmarils, though one alone shines above, are woven into these tales, for the evening star is a thread that binds Gondor's present to the ancient strife of the Eldar. The men of Gondor, bold and visionary, look to the star and dream of greatness, their hearts echoing the same hunger that led Numenor to its doom. Yet these kings, raised on the lore of Elrond and the songs of Arwen, seek a different path, not power, but harmony, a light that unites rather than divides. The Silmarils, though distant, are a question that lingers in their halls. What will you build, and what will you surrender to claim it? The memory of Arwen, though she has faded, lives in the hearts of her descendants. Her sacrifice, a mirror of Luthiens who won a Silmaril through love's impossible courage. The evening star shining above is a reminder of her lineage, of Eärendil, who bore the Silmaril to the sky, of Elwing, who flew as a bird to save it, of Luthien, whose song subdued Morgoth himself. Arwen's choice to embrace mortality, to bind her light to Aragorn's fleeting life, carries the Silmaril's legacy into the Fourth Age, not as a jewel, but as a testament to love's enduring cost. Her descendants, mortal yet touched by elven grace, rule with a heart that knows both joy and sorrow, their lives shaped by the Silmaril's distant fire. The star above is a bittersweet guide, its radiance a reminder that even the greatest light casts a shadow of loss, a truth that tempers their ambition with humility. Let us pause here, for Arwen's legacy is not merely a royal line, it is a mirror of devotion. The Silmarils, though scattered, taught the world that love is both gift and wound. Arwen, like Luthien, gave her eternity for love, her heart bound to a light that burned brightly but briefly. What do we offer when the light we cherish demands our all? A dream, a future, a life we cannot keep. The Silmarils lost, but ever present, are a lesson. The light we hold dearest is the one that costs us most. Arwen's descendants, ruling in Gondor, are a new verse in their tale, a note of grace that resonates through the Fourth Age, tempered by the sorrow of her fading, a reminder that even in triumph, the heart bears its quiet grief. In the Shire, the hobbits weave their lives into the fabric of the Fourth Age, their days filled with the rhythms of sowing and reaping, their nights warmed by tales of old. The Red Book, passed down from Samwise Gamgee, is a treasure in their homes, its pages a record of the Ring's burden, a shadow of the Silmaril's fire. The evening star, which Sam named for Galadriel's file, shines above their hills, its light a comfort in the dark, a spark in the stories they tell their children. Fastred, a young hobbit of Sam's line, grows with a love for these tales, his heart stirred by the star's glow, by the names of Frodo, Eärendil, and a world beyond the Shire's borders. The Silmarils, though one alone is seen, are a presence in the Shire, their strife a whisper in the songs that shape its memory. The hobbits, though they know not the Silmarils' name, carry their light in their resilience, their joy, a quiet answer to the question of what light is worth. Beyond the Shire, the men of the Fourth Age explore the world, their ships sailing to distant shores, their cities reaching toward new horizons. The reunited kingdom sends emissaries to the east, where the Easterlings forge new lives, their tales of the ring, a dark echo of the Silmarils' radiance. In the south, the Haradrim build vibrant markets, their stories of the war against Sauron interwoven with the star that shone above it. The evening star Eärendil's Silmaril is a light they all see, yet its meaning shifts with each people, a guide to wanderers, a mystery to sages, a challenge to those who dream of dominion. The Silmarils, though lost, are a presence that shapes these new bonds, their strife, a fire that smolders in the ambitions, the rivalries, the hopes of a world remade. Yet unity is fragile when desires clash, and the Silmarils' legacy, though centuries past, lingers in the heart's quiet hungers, a question that asks, what will you seek, and what will you break to claim it? Let us linger here, for the world's exploration is not merely a journey, it is a meditation on connection. The Silmarils, though scattered, taught the world to see light as both gift and curse. Fëanor's oath divided kin, Morgoth's greed divided the divine, Numenor's pride divided men from the valor. Now the Fourth Age bears this division, its peoples bound by the world they share, yet separated by the dreams they chase. What do we find when the light we seek leads us to others? A friend, a rival, a truth we cannot share. The Silmarils, lost but ever present, are a lesson the light we love can unite us, yet it can also fracture us. The tales of the East and South, like those of the West, are a new verse in their strife, a reminder that the heart's hunger outlasts the jewel, yet also a hope that connection can heal what desire has broken. In the north, the dwarves of Erebor and the Iron Hills continue their craft, their forges glowing with the skill of their ancestors. The Silmarils, though never theirs to hold, touched their history, for the dwarves of Nogrod coveted a Silmaril, their greed kindling the fall of Doriath. Now in the Fourth Age the dwarves trade with men, their halls filled with the wealth of peace, their gems sparkling with a beauty that recalls the jewels of Fëanor. The evening star shining above stirs a quiet longing, a memory of the radiance their forebears sought. The Silmarils, though lost, are a presence in their work, their strife a whisper in the stones they carve, the gold they shape. The dwarves, like all peoples, bear the Silmarils' question, what will you create, and what will you destroy to claim it? Their craft enduring and bright is a new verse in the Silmarils' tale, a note of resilience that echoes through the ages, a testament to the beauty that endures beyond strife. In the far west, Valinor glows with a light untouched by mortal sorrow, its shores a haven for the elves who sailed from Middle-earth. Galadriel, Elrond, and Círdan, now in the Undying Lands, find solace in the presence of the Valar, their hearts eased by the memory of the two trees whose light the Silmarils once held. Yet even here the Silmarils' legacy lingers, for their radiance was the spark of the Noldor's rebellion, the fire of their exile. Manwë atop Tanicatil gazes at Eärendil's star, its light a testament to Ilúvatar's will. Varda, who hallowed the Silmarils, knows their radiance endures, though their strife has scarred the world. The jewels lost to earth and sea are not beyond the Valar's sight, yet they remain where they fell, a mystery even to the divine. The Silmarils, eternal and unyielding, are a question that haunts even Valinor. Why does light so pure kindle such sorrow? Their presence, though unseen, is a reminder that even the divine cannot undo the choices of the heart, that even in eternity the memory of strife endures. In Middle-earth, the men of the Fourth Age shape a world of their own, their cities vibrant, their fields abundant. Yet the Silmarils' legacy lingers not in jewels, but in the desires they awakened. The evening star Eärendil's Silmaril shines above, a guide for poets who sing of ancient heroes, for scholars who study the heavens, for explorers who seek new lands. Yet dreams when unbound become desires, and desires when unchecked become strife. The men of Gondor, like their Númenórean ancestors, feel a quiet hunger for wisdom, for legacy, for a connection to the divine. Eldarion's heirs, wise but mortal, must navigate this hunger, their choices a final chapter in the Silmarils' endless tale. The Silmarils, though lost, are a question that echoes through their courts. What will you seek, and what will you sacrifice to claim it? The world turns its seasons a rhythm of birth and fading its peoples bound by the light that shines above. The Silmarils, though scattered, are not silent, their radiance a thread that weaves through the ages. Eärendil's star shines as a hope that endures, a reminder of the love that won it. The earth and sea hold their secrets, their light a mystery that whispers of eternity. The Silmarils are more than jewels. They are a question asked of every heart. What will you sacrifice for the light you love? Fëanor gave his soul, Luthien her immortality, Frodo his peace, Arwen her eternity. And we who hear their tale must ask what we would give. Yet the Silmarils' strife, though endless, is not without redemption. Their light, born of creation's song, was never meant to be hoarded, but to illuminate, to guide, to inspire. Fëanor's fire, though it consumed him, gave the world a beauty that endures. Luthien's love, though it cost her all, wove a thread of hope that binds the ages. Eärendil's star, though it shines alone, is a light that no darkness can quench. The Silmarils' strife is rooted not in their radiance, but in the hearts that sought to possess it, to bend it to their will. Yet in their scattering they became a gift, a star to guide a fire, to warm a sea, to cradle the weary. Their question, asked through centuries of sorrow, finds its answer not in resolution, but in revelation. The light we love is not ours to hold, but to share, to reflect, to carry forward in the choices we make. The wind of the Fourth Age stirs, now carrying the echo of Fëanor's fire, Luthien's song, Eärendil's star, and the quiet joys of the Shire. The Silmarils shine, still their radiance a call to both ruin and redemption, a light that never fades. Their tale, ancient and ever new, does not end, but fades into the memory of the world, a song that lingers in the heart, a question that asks us to look to the stars and wonder what light we will bear and what we will give to keep it burning.